right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. And, of course, on the 1010XL app. We are live on Facebook, on 1010XL's page and my own page. We archive it everywhere. It's all over the place, wherever you watch or listen to your favorite podcast. We are all over YouTube, Spotify, you name it. And not just this show, but all the great content that comes right out of these 1010XL podcast studios. My show brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. You know, I love Team Tommy Mac. They're not only just great businesses, great people, doing the great work and taking care of their community. No doubt about that. Chris Lucero's bail bonds, J-Dog junk removal. Chris Lucero's bail bonds, J-Dog junk removal, Azar Sausage, Meat 55, Carpet Man Flooring, Truck Accident Law Firm, and new to Team Tommy Mac, the Graffiti Burger Bar in Jacksonville Beach. Brand new ownership. Go in there. We went in there a couple weeks ago. I did not know they had new ownership. Good food. Great place to watch games Saturday and Sunday. Working on a Dad Bod's little show maybe before the year is up. And we are also working on a Thursday night happy hour, catching up with Tommy Mac from the Graffiti Burger Bar. So great to have them on board, and of course, great to be here in the 1010XL podcast studios. Before we break down Jags versus Colts and look around the NFL, let's say hello to my man, Grammage, my esteemed producer. Hey, Grammage.
How we doing, sir?
How are you, dude?
Dude, it's Friday.
Fridays are a great day. There's no doubt about it. My Friday's already. I'm booked after this. I gotta head downtown around 4. My youngest daughter is dancing tonight for Douglas Anderson High School. They got a big show, and we're gonna be downtown for a little bit. But should be a great game. I got 2 questions for you, and you can answer them too, Graham. 2 questions. 1, what the hell happened to Russell Wilson? 2, why doesn't anybody cover Jason Kelce? I mean,
Travis Kelce?
I'm sorry, Travis Kelce. Thank you. What's the game plan? Let him beat us? There's nobody else to beat you other than Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like, what are you afraid of? You're afraid of Scantling?
It made more sense when Tyreek Hill was there. When
Tyreek Hill was there, right. We'll take out Tyreek Hill and let Kelce beat us. But, I mean, he was like, look, when you play zone, just for the record, okay, so you're the tight end. You're about 3-5 yards away from me, maybe 3 yards away here. If I drop into the hook zone and you come into my zone, guess who I have? You. Not air. Not like, woo, 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 woo. I'll just sit back here and wait till something happens. Yeah. And then he gets the pass and he shakes you or gets 3-5 yards or what. You know what I mean? Like, get on his ass. Like, nobody was on him. Look, guy's a phenomenal player, but you even made it more phenomenal by not even covering him. I'm telling you right now, the only way I think to beat the Chiefs, to beat their offense, is to double Kelce and let everybody else beat you. You got to double him. You got to in and out him. That doesn't always mean you're going to get hit on it. You see how they move him around. Everyone's like, oh, just let one of the outside backers jack him up. Well, you know how many times he's lined up right on them? Like maybe 3 a game. Most of the times he's hiding behind somebody, you know, or in motion or off the ball. You're never going to jam him, but you can double him.
That's the genius of Andy Reid.
I agree.
And you know, you see this in my opinion, you always see this with smarter offenses around the league. The Jaguars do this yep. well as well with Doug Peterson. If you've got these great players, the Bengals do this with Jamar Chase
yep.
a little bit. The Rams
yep.
have done this with Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
When you have great receivers and great tight ends,
yep.
and the defense you're facing maybe has a number 1 corner that's pretty good or whatever, why in the world would you ever allow that corner to just sit there static right. and just stand up?
No.
I mean,
right.
you played defense.
Right. No. Attack.
What are you not wanting the offense to do with their best players before the snap?
Right.
Move them around.
Right, exactly.
Move them all over the place.
Right? Yeah, because you either got to recount or run with them. And if you recount, you may not be the guy on him anymore because he's gone from 1 to 2 or 3 or to the other side to 2 or 1, whatever the case may be. No, you're right.
And by the way, when you do move these guys around, obviously the Dolphins are becoming famous for how much they motion guys.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And the Chiefs motion guys all the time. By the way, not only are you probably getting your best player in a more favorable matchup, but you're also telling the quarterback so much about how they're playing defense.
That's right.
That you're forcing the defense to play their hand a lot more than they normally would.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. And listen, I think when you're playing those kind of teams, you got to do that. It's got to happen. It's got to happen, no doubt about it. And look, I think with our Jags and the way they're playing, I got to see more out of this team. And I like where they're at. I feel good about our team. There's no doubt about it. Coming away from London 2-0, I don't think anybody had that. So I'm very happy about that. What's nice about when they win, you can sit there and be like, okay, they're winning, which is great. Better points with 25. I mean, you put up 25 against Buffalo. It's pretty damn good. You know, I mean, it's not like
holding them to 20 is really damn good.
Yeah, and holding them to 20 is really damn good. Yeah, no doubt about that. But I got to see a little bit more on both sides of the ball. I thought Trevor, like I said on Tuesday, I thought he dueled. I thought he battled. I thought he got hit too much, but he made a ton of plays, played some Trevor ball. But this one's going to be a little bit different. Now, you beat them already, right? You've already gone up to Indy and beat them in the first game. It was 31-21. What do you remember of that game? I remember a couple things. Our offense looked sloppy. They scored 31, and their defensive front was better than anybody thought they were going to be, right? You got Grover, DeForest Buckner. We thought, hey, they got Shaq Leonard back. Well, that Zaire Franklin's a bad-to-the-bone linebacker as well. Kwity Paye can run. I mean, they got some ball players on the defensive side of the ball. On offense, who are you afraid of? You're not. You're afraid. Look, you got Taylor. And forget about last week, Jonathan Taylor. Let's see what he does this week. Zach Moss can break it off. He did against Tennessee. Tennessee's got a pretty decent run defense. But if you take care of the run, you're going to take care of Minshew. Now, Minshew comes back into town, and I got nothing against Minshew at all. Obviously, he definitely served a purpose while he was here. He provided us with some really good football from time to time, sometimes more than not. It's funny when you look at Gardner, and this is where like if you put up his career stats and you didn't have his name, you'd be like, pretty darn good career. How many years is he in the league? 5, 6 now?
His rookie year was 2019.
19, right. So about 4 or 5?
So 19, 20, right. 21, 22.
So if you took his name away and where he was drafted and all that, you just showed his one-loss record, touchdown to interceptions, completion percentage, you'd be like, wow, that's pretty darn good.
That's a good quarterback, yeah.
But then you put the name and you're like, it's Gardner Minshew.
Right.
But it's not. So here's the thing, though. You know this. He can beat you.
100%.
He can beat you if you don't get to him. And that's a big thing. You got to be able to disrupt Gardner Minshew this week. If you let him sit back there like you did with C.J. Stroud, he's going to do the same thing C.J. Stroud did to you. And I know I'm not scared. Like, Pittman's a nice receiver. He is. But I'm not worried about.
He's not Jamar Chase.
No, right. Yeah. Or anybody he's a nice receiver. I don't want to try to say a guy can't play because he can. And you can make him look good if you don't get any pressure. But Alec Pierce, come on. I'm not worried about Alec Pierce hurting me. I'm not worried about the tight ends hurting me. I'm worried about Jonathan Taylor going off or Zach Moss going off, and that'll make their offense run a little bit better. So if we can take care of that run and get after Minshew, you got a chance. And I mean, you expect them to win, don't you?
Yeah.
Is there any doubt that? And hey, is that because we're too confident? I don't know. I just feel like, look, they proved a lot by beating Atlanta and then beating Buffalo.
I agree.
And you can say what you want about this and about that, and it's not fair, all this stuff.
They have to line up and play football.
Totally. And I will tell you this. If our Jags come out flat, and if they don't play well, I'm going to hammer them on Tuesday because I'm not going to listen to all this. Well, we had jet lag, we had this come back. I don't think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see a fired up group that's ready to rock and roll. That's what I expect out of this team. And granted, the Bills players weren't complaining. It was their fans that were complaining that it wasn't fair and all this other stuff. Now, Etienne made an interesting point, by the way. He said, well, yeah, I felt a lot better the second game than the first game, which makes sense. I get it. But now that you're back, you decided not to take the bye, right? You got to go turn a quick turnaround. Think about this. You come back from London, play Sunday, play Thursday. But then you got one more game and then a bye. So it'll be interesting how that all shakes down. But
By the way, probably last thing, because I know we've already hit on it multiple times on the schedule thing and the travel and going over there and and everything and the extra week, all that.
Yep.
As the team that has to go over there every single year, I'm not going to apologize for getting that advantage that second game. Hell no.
No.
Hell no.
Well, and you're not factoring in, and I'll give Logs credit. We were talking, I heard him on the air too. You know, you're not factoring in, you're not in your own bed. You're not eating your own food. You're not on the same schedule. You're not, in the comforts of your facility, the Miller Electric House, that type of thing.
You're going to see your family if they don't come over.
It's different. Like I know you think it's like, oh, well, it's so this and that, but it's not. It's kind of a grind. And then they had problems with their hotel, and there was no air. I mean, these kind of things, kind of happen. So. You don't get there's no excuse. You got to line up and play the game. And I expect, come on. You're back home after being away for almost 3 weeks now, right? You're back home to a crowd that is so excited for you and so happy that we're 3-2. Think about that. Prior to the Atlanta game, what were you thinking? Oh, my God.
1-2.
Geez, we're not looking good. The offense ain't clicking. Defense is hanging in there. They're doing okay. Keep us in games, but the offense not coming around. But I'll tell you what, I always go through the stats, and I will again, but the third down last week was absolutely incredible for our offense, and they got to continue to do that. Overall, it's not good. Think about how bad we were, because right now we're at 37.68. We were at 55.55 last week. So we must have been like 29, 20. That's not good, but we're climbing back up, which is just fine.
I thought I really liked the play calling on third and shorts this past week relative to what it had been. It felt a lot less super predictable. We're putting Tank Bigsby in the game and just trying to shove it up there and see what happens. There's a lot more. Hey, we got some speed laterally. Let's stretch those. Let's use Trevor's legs. It felt like there was a much more willingness to use what they had at their disposal in terms of strengths.
I just don't. The one thing, and I know you'll agree, and I think we talked about it on Tuesday, but can you stop putting Agnew like in the wing next to the tackle and running an end around? Like everybody knows it's coming. At least fake it next time and then do something different. But they got to change that up, because every time he's in there and there's three. And he's number 3, which is closest to the tackle. You're like, they're doing an end around, or they're going to him, or something. So we got to do a better job in disguising that kind of stuff.
And I understand that with the addition of Calvin Ridley, that naturally means just a numbers game. Jamal Agnew was bumped down on the receiver depth chart by 1, basically in terms of who's going to be on the field running regular routes. But I do think if you want to use Agnew in the offense, you have to let him in the game on more regular plays where he may not get the ball, where he's just running a slant in the slot or something.
Agreed.
Remember when Corey Grant was in Jags? It was the same thing. It was always so obvious what the Jaguars were doing, and even if the play worked, it was the fan nature was, why don't they do that all the time?
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't work that way. You can't just run.
Well, and that's the thing. Like last year, when they put him in that number 3 slot, he was going out for passes.
Yes.
Downfield.
So the end arounds and stuff weren't as predictable.
Right.
Correct. And now with the addition of Ridley, you kind of have your guys that are going to be there running routes more.
And deep.
Right. Yep. So I just think, Doug is as good as any of them as calling plays to set up other plays.
Yep.
Maybe put Agnew in the game for some more. He's fully capable.
And we look. You know that any offense, they're not showing everything yet. They're working 100%. Towards showing everything. Right. They're getting to where that point where, just like we're saying, like, okay, we've shown them, Agnew at number 3, and all we do is doing an end around. Let's throw him and Ridley there. Ridley next to him, and let's do some kind of deep crossing type thing and screw him up a little bit. So we'll see more of that, I think. Look, at the end of the day, this game, this is for first place in the division. And the Colts are 3-1 since we beat them. You know what I mean? So they're feeling pretty good about themselves, even with their quarterback situation. And Minshew, I think, 3-0 since he started, or like in his starts. I
think he's 2-0.
Playing a lot, whatever. Yeah, look, the guy's a gamer. I'll give Gardner that. He is a gamer, and if you get him comfortable and feeling good about himself, he's gonna hurt you.
I think
they can't let that happen.
I think you got to keep him in the pocket. He likes to escape the pocket and make plays.
He's better on the run than from the pocket, for sure.
And what he's really good at is a little bit of kind of Brett Favre type ball. Obviously, he's not Brett Favre, but you know what I mean. Kind of the escape the pocket, let a receiver break off the route.
Yeah, kind of throw him open type deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he was really good at that here. But anytime, as far as I recall at least, anytime that teams did a good job of containing him and keeping him inside the pocket, he would struggle a little bit.
Yeah. Look, Lloyd's back. Devin Lloyd should be back. Smoot should be out there, which is great. We've been waiting for him.
We're so excited.
Oh, man. Even if you get 15 plays out of him, it's going to give them a shot in the arm that he's back. And Muma did a fine job in place of Lloyd. But one thing Lloyd does very well, in my opinion, and so does Foye Oluokun, is blitz. And I think we're going to see some blitzes in those A and B gaps, because what's nice about a run blitz, if they don't run, it's still a blitz. And if it is a run, you hopefully get, you clog everything up by the blitz.
You should jam right into there.
You should just give them nowhere to go, especially if they're running right, in between the tackle box. So I would expect Mike Caldwell to call more of that, see more of that, because at the end of the day, Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor are the guys that can really hurt you on Sunday. Those are the guys that you got to be concerned about, at least when they're on offense. And again, with Gardner, if you give him a chance, he'll make things happen. He does have that gamer in him like Brett Favre has, kind of that sandlot, I'll figure something out, make something happen kind of deal. So he's on it again, at least from what I remember with him being here. Yep.
And this is this is a big reason that I think he's so effective as a backup.
Yep.
Coming in a pinch.
No, right. You're not ready for him.
He's arguably better when the play breaks down.
I agree. He's better at street ball than he is at organized.
Right. And that makes a great backup.
No doubt.
The game plan's kind of getting screwed up here because it's not what we were planning to do or whatever, but this guy can just make a guy miss in the pocket and then
he can.
Break somebody open downfield or that type of thing. So
well, look, they've got, their offensive line used to be a huge strength. I know the 2 tackles are listed as questionable, but I expect them to play. They're averaging 4.4 yards per carry on offense. That's pretty darn good, especially when Taylor went there. Now, a big part of that's probably Zach Moss's big game last week. On defense, we're both about the same, giving up 3.7, 3.8 yards per carry. So who wins that battle? That'll be interesting. I mean, ETN went off last week, and all we need is what? A little tiny crease, and he'll make something happen. So that's another, thing we got to keep an eye on. Who is controlling the run game of the other team? We know this. When ETN goes off in the ground game, it helps everything.
Yeah.
Now, you don't necessarily need that for Trevor to carry the offense, as Gardner needs that to help him do well. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not carrying that offense all by himself. We know that Trevor and the weapons can, as long as the O-line holds up. So, that those things are going to dictate how this game comes out. If they come out flat, it depends how long it lasts, right? Buffalo came out flat, and you say what you want. They still got to play the game. They still got to come to play. But they're capable of coming back, and they came back a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like Darius Williams' interception, if that's not an interception, who knows what happens there? And I know you could go throughout the game like that, but my point is they didn't start off very good. Then they came on a little bit stronger, and then our defense bailed us out. There's no doubt. It had been a little break type thing. With Gardner, I'm not worried about him, putting the team on his back and you're down 17-0 because you came out flat. You know what I mean? Now, granted, you were against Stroud. C.J. Stroud carved you up. Were you down 17-0 at half? You were. So, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I think Minshew's just as capable as C.J. Stroud of hurting your defense if given the time. So that's going to be a big one for me.
I think you're onto something with the score and playing with a lead versus playing from behind. I feel like in this game, with exactly what you said, the people to be scared of are Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Pittman is not. He's a good player.
He's okay. He's got 13 yards per reception and maybe one touchdown.
He's a good football player, but he's not Justin Jefferson or
he's not
Stephon
a true number
Diggs.
one. He would be a great slot if they had a big-time number one.
Right. If the Jaguars early can get up 10 to 14 points, you got to feel great about going and stepping on their throats and winning the football game, right? I mean,
absolutely.
And tell me if you agree or disagree with this. I mean, I would do this almost any game ever, so maybe this isn't even just this game in particular. But given the fact that they need, I would say they need to start strong in this game.
Yep.
First or second play that the Jaguars have the ball on offense, take a shot, man.
Yeah.
Test these corners, bro. Yeah. And because they do have that strong front seven, I do think they're going to want to be aggressive because that worked well for them in week 1.
Yep.
Let's see if we can beat them over the top, man. Let's send Ridley deep and see if we can't get a huge gain to start the game. You know?
They do give up 7.6 yards per attempt at 68%. That's what their defense gives up on yards per attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they do get thrown on. They're pretty good on third down. They're 39%. We're at 40.6. Our defense. They're very good on fourth down. Their defense is so.
That's the mark of a good front seven.
Yeah. No, they're not good. I'm sorry. They're 5 of 9, so that's not good. They give up about half there, so maybe you got something on fourth down. 15 sacks, 3 picks, and a +3 turnover ratio for the Indianapolis Colts, right? So, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, I think you're gonna throw the ball to loosen up the safeties and then get the running game going. I know it's early. I have this feeling that, especially with Zay hurt, like, is it Elijah Cook's time yet? You know what I mean? Like, he's right there. He's active, right? Or been active at times, you know. I think he's been active the past couple weeks. They haven't used him. They deactivate him on game day, right? What does that mean? But he's on the 53, but he doesn't play on game day. I don't know, man. I think that guy could create a huge mismatch for people.
It was interesting when Zay went down again in the Bills game.
Yep.
Tim Jones was getting snaps.
I saw that, yep.
And I was thinking about Elijah Cooks, and I'm not sure if he dressed on Sunday or not.
I don't think I think he was inactive.
I was also thinking about going back to earlier in this show, Agnew.
Yep.
Why was Agnew not getting some reps at wide receiver?
I don't know. They were trying to end around. That's why, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe they just believe Tim Jones is their best true wide receiver after the first 3.
Or they're not ready to unleash Cooks yet. Because you're going to surprise some people. I'm telling you right now. You put that kid on a nickel and send him downtown, they won't catch him. I'm telling you. This kid, you've seen him. Well, I'm not saying he's like this, going to be this unbelievable number 1 wideout, but he is 6'5" and can fly for a big man.
And he will
he can catch, and he can run routes. I mean, I'm waiting for them to unleash that young man because I think he's got something.
And he will get favorable matchups every time he's in the football game.
We can double him and not Ridley.
Right,
good luck.
Exactly.
You know, double him. Double him. Not really. What about Ingram?
Right.
You know what I mean? What about Zay when he gets back, or Kirk, who's having a great year?
If I'm a defensive coordinator, what's keeping me up at night is not Elijah Cooks.
Right.
So if he plays,
speed, baby.
That means, to your point, that means it's probably a nickel corner or a backer on him.
Right.
It's not going to be.
Backers should never be able to cover him.
CB1 is going to be on Ridley or Kirk if he's outside, which he is sometimes. And I know Zay's not playing right now, but still, you're going to get a good matchup, especially because the third best cover guy, if Zay is out, the third best cover guy on a team, if you're matching up man-to-man, is going to be on Ingram.
Right.
It's not going to be on someone like Elijah Cooks or even Agnew or whoever.
Right.
So I agree with you.
Yeah, I want to see it, man. Want to see it happen. All right, so the Jags, let's see, as far as stats go, they got a little bit better on third down. Still got to go there. They're fourth down. This is where maybe rubber meets the road. You know, Doug hasn't been as aggressive. He was last week a little bit more aggressive on fourth down, but prior to that, he just doesn't seem like he's been, you know, like earlier in the year, he's like always going for it. Then a couple games he didn't go for it at all. trying to maybe feel his way, but they do give up about half, 50%, 55% on fourth down, and we're at 25%. I mean, we're just terrible on fourth down, 2 of 8 on offense.
Converting?
Yeah, I mean, that's just awful. I mean, that doesn't sound like Doug Peterson's offense on fourth down. I mean, he almost made, him and Andy made fourth down like this. Yeah, you don't have to punt.
Right.
Just go for it. Screw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go for it almost every single time. But
So I got 2 quick things on that in terms of the fourth down. They've gone for it a lot on the opponent's side of the 50, which I'm not against.
Which you normally do, though. You would, as opposed to being at your own 30.
I will say, though, you just went out and got a kicker with one of the biggest legs in the league.
Massive leg.
And outside of maybe the Texans game, because that game kind of got away from me, and it was just a little bit, even that game was close for a good portion of it. You've played, just like any NFL game, you've played close ball games.
Yep.
I have felt like there's been a couple of times this year where they probably should have taken the points. That's the first thing. And then secondly,
they could have taken the points last week and it'd been 28-20.
Right.
You know, at least, maybe even 31-20. Exactly.
So, and then I think part of their reasoning for struggling on fourth down a lot is I think Tank Bigsby so far has not been the short yardage back they've hoped. And I don't know if that's Tank Bigsby's fault or if that's the interior of the O-line not getting enough push.
Well, listen,
I don't know.
Okay, I'm waiting. I even tweeted it during the game. I'm waiting for Tank to run like his name.
Right.
You know what I mean? I am waiting. He's got some he's got some movement in the hole. He definitely has a burst, but he's not here for that. I mean, he spells ETN for that. That's fine, but you really grabbed him for what? For that short yardage goal line. I need a first down, and he's been getting stuffed.
You grabbed him for 4th and 1.
Listen, I'm sorry, and now as a linebacker, I have to win, but as a short yardage back, you have to win. When your number's called. I don't care if I meet you in the hole. Spin. Slide so I can't get a full shot on you. If you can't run me over, then do something to make that fall forward at least. Don't get – I mean, I've seen 2 or 3 times he's getting stuffed in the hole.
And it's not even close. Yeah.
Stood up in the hole, and he's not going anywhere. So I want to see more. He's got to lower the boom. He's got it. We've seen him. We stood next to him in camp. He's big enough guy, and again, he's got the shake and he's got the speed. And by the way, I do have to credit him, Grammage. He picked up a blitz or 2 this past week that was pretty darn good.
I didn't see, but
he did. At least one. He picked one up that I was like, okay, that's a nice. Yeah. He slid right in there, got in the guy's face, and did his job. And we know how important that is for running backs, especially young running backs. So I agree with you. I want to see him. You know, you're here to. But at least, look, it's hard to run guys over in the end. Like, flat out run them over, unless you're so much bigger than them. You know, corner, safe, take on a Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get run over. But when you're similar in stature, or that linebacker's 10 or 15, you're not running them over. But who cares? Hit, spin, hit, slide. Do something to get the first down, not hitting, I'm going to. Hope.
Yeah, right.
Is anyone doing a tush push for me? For crying out loud, I need some help. You know what I mean? And I would look. He's a young guy. It's different. You know what? At Auburn, he probably makes all those first downs.
He probably
just either. I'm not saying he runs over them, but he bounces off them, or he just falls forward because they're not. It's not the NFL. It's a little different.
I think too. You know this as well as anyone because you made that transition from college to the league, especially in those short yardage. Everyone always talks about the speed of the game being the biggest difference. I think, if I had to guess, probably one of the biggest adjustments he's having to make right now is in those short yardage plays at Auburn, he probably had that extra half a second to figure out where I should shake, what move I should make type of thing.
You're right.
And getting that little extra wiggle where I can get a little extra leverage.
The linebacker comes up a little quick in the NFL.
Right, exactly, versus... In the NFL right now, it probably feels like to him, I just got the ball and people are falling on top of me, right?
Right.
ETN, I know this is not his job in short yardage, but even in just regular base down runs, he's done a great job of making that one extra little jump to the right or the left or making a spin or whatever.
He's not getting hit and trying to get the guy over. He's getting hit and sliding out or something.
Correct. He's avoiding contact that he doesn't need to be part of.
Yeah. But as a short yardage, you sometimes can't avoid that.
100%.
You got to run through the guys.
100%. You're going to have contact. That's the whole point of being a short yardage back. But to your exact point, man, in the league, if a guy's got 15, 20 pounds on you, you're not driving him 3 yards backwards for the first down. That's not going to happen.
Right.
You need that. How can I, instead of letting him hit me straight on, how can I get a little to the left? So it's a side tackle where I can then drive.
Just get the yards.
Right.
1 yard you should get.
Exactly.
I don't care if they hit you in the backfield before you get going, different story.
My other complaint.
They shot the gap and you can't get going. But once you're going and they meet you in a hole, you got to win that one.
My other complaint, and I get it, he's the franchise. You want to keep him healthy. I understand. But my God, man, you got a 6'6" quarterback and you need 1 yard.
I know.
Oh, my God. And Trevor's, he's skinny, but he's strong,
man. He's tough, too, man. He's fine. He's fine.
He's not Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying he is.
No, I know.
But 1 yard?
Yeah.
I mean, I've very rarely seen Trevor run a quarterback sneak where he got stuffed.
Well, you saw Russell Wilson, not good last night. I saw on 1 4th or 3rd down. He did. He found the B gap. Remember, he took the snap and he got the first down. So it can be done. And Trevor should be doing more of that. Trevor's done a nice job picking up his yards per attempt at 7 yards per passing attempt at 67%. So, look, I'm a little concerned about our O-line. I need Cam to have a better game. Look,
100%.
You can say whatever you want about the O-line, and you hear all different types of stuff right now. Oh, they're okay, they're terrible, they're blah, blah, blah. All I know is this, and it's not a disrespect to A.J. Epenesa, but he looked like an all-pro last week. He did, and he's a good player. But have you heard of him other than he came from Iowa and he backs up Rousseau or whoever the guy and then Von Miller. When you get to AJ, you got Von Miller, you got Floyd. You know what I mean? But who stood out? Number 57 stood out. He lined up against Cam a lot. And he, got after him. You call it Russ, I don't give a crap what you call it. It's got to be better. It's got to be a lot better. You're smirking. What are you smirking? I mean, it's true.
It's just, you're so right. It's
sorry.
It's like this guy is.
He's a good player, but you made him like.
But he looked like Von Miller.
He was killing us. He's lucky we were lucky he didn't hurt our quarterback.
I know.
And by the way, they didn't call the penalty when I rewatched the whistle blew and he came across and grabbed by his helmet just for.
Oh, really?
And they didn't call it at all. It was a dead ball foul. He tried to lighten up, but he still got him pretty good. Anyway, that can't happen. Look, Kwity Paye's a nice pass rusher. He's a good player. And when you got DeForest Buckner and Grover next to you, I think it's Grover Stewart. They're going to help you, and you're going to be one-on-one with that tackle. And we need better play out of our tackles. Anton, what was when they met in the middle? They both thought they were pulling?
So
whose fault was that?
I saw on Twitter that after the play, the whole offensive line was mad at Anton.
Okay, so he went the wrong way.
Yeah.
So it's losing focus, man. I mentioned that on Tuesday. Look, you think it doesn't take it. It does. I look at Tyson Campbell. Great game last week, except for what?
The one time he missed the jam and Diggs beat him.
What if that was for the game winner? You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. What made now good? Stephon Diggs is a great player. He probably knows how to get off press better than most wide receivers, but you can't whiff. And whiffing means you either took your eye off him and looked inside, looked to see, or you lost some form of focus. And I'm not saying you're always going to jam and hold them and be like, hey, you're not going anywhere. But you got to at least get a shot to where they can't. What did he do? He just went, boom, 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 touched it. It was you can't lose that focus. You got to have that focus every single time. And I like Tyson Campbell's a great player on this team. I think he's a very good corner. And like any good corner, they need more pass rush to even be a better corner. And he'll get that. And Darius Williams, look, we've been kind of, even against Buffalo, was kind of bend don't break. You're oh no, they're going down. They're making these throws, making these plays. They didn't run the ball much. They just threw the ball all over the place. right? And then we'd make a big play, like third down or the pick. It was a great pick by Darius Williams. That
Such
was
a great
huge.
play, man.
It was big. It was big. Both his picks were big. That helped against Atlanta big time, and it helped against Buffalo. So, but you can't rely on that. Hey, by the way, they're +3 turnover. We're +4 turnover ratio. So who's going to turn the ball over? And Trevor, like I said, you got to know they're coming, buddy. You got to know they're coming. The one I'll give you didn't see it, but the second one, we're trying to get out of dodge. You got to secure that ball, man. That's on you.
When it gets to that point, if you weren't able to get rid of it before somebody's bringing it down, you just got to take the sack.
Yep. Just secure the ball.
I felt like that fumble was classic. I don't want to take the sack. I want to try to throw it away.
Yep.
And I've now exposed the ball as I'm coming out.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right. Well, I got to win them 33-21. Did I tell you that? 33-21. I'm going back to when they won them, beat them first week in the season, 31-21. And it was a sloppy game. We're almost like, oh, my gosh, they scored 31 points. Doesn't feel like it. I think the offense has gotten better and better. And I think last week was a lot better than Atlanta. Not maybe a lot, but better than Atlanta, better than the weeks before. And I expect them to roll. Hey, let me throw this out at you. You beat the Bills. That's a statement game. You know what else is an MFN statement game? I'll tell you what it is. Beating the Colts and taking first place in the division with no questions asked. That's why you got to win this game. You got to get a clean sweep of this team. You can do it. They're ripe for the taking. They are. But don't be high in the sky beating the Bills, and don't give me any jet lag crap. I don't care about any of that stuff. Just come out to play and take care of business against a divisional opponent. By the way, if you lose, guess who's in first place? The team you just beat. They just beat you. So don't let that happen.
I also think, and I think this is, if this becomes the case, then we're in very, very, very good shape for the rest of the season. I thought Trevor's had some really good moments and then a little bit of struggles kind of in the middle. And so far this season, it hasn't been awful, but it hasn't been, fantastic. But it's still a young season, whatever. The Bills game, it felt like he said, screw it, I'm taking matters in my own hands. And it felt like even though that line was really struggling, he was playing above his circumstances.
Oh, without a doubt. But he was taking too many shots playing above his circumstance. That's the problem. Yeah.
I agree. But the fact that we have a QB that is able to play above his circumstances and go win us a football game.
Yep.
That's big, man. Because even if this line still struggles a little bit, or even if they're not what they are going to be until Walker Little gets back, even if Anton still makes some rookie mistakes, or even if all that stuff happens, you still feel like you got a chance to go win a ball game because you have 16. So that's huge. Versus if I have most of the quarterbacks that the Jaguars have had since like David Garrard and Mark Brunell, they can't win if that offensive line doesn't get it together. Even if they're still making mistakes, I think 16 can go just win it because he's that good.
Well, especially when he plays what we call Trevor ball.
Yes, correct.
Right, go off, take off, man.
Because he's that good. He's that talented.
He is very, very talented. I just don't want to see him take too many shots. And I'll tell you what, this offensive line, man, I mean, this is your little brother. I mean, if you ever had a little brother, I've been the youngest. But if I had a little brother, I would have kicked the living crap out of him because the old, how it goes downhill. So he would have been dead. But if anybody else touched him, oh my gosh, they would have been dead a million times over. So that's how you got to protect Trevor. He's your young brother, the young stallion. You got to keep. It's almost like, when you're like Trevor. I'll use a mythical, hypothetical, but say you're like Trevor, total big, winner in high school, winner in college. You go to a party, nobody messes with Trevor. You don't punch Trevor. You don't get in Trevor's face. You don't even go near him unless you're going to say, hey, Trevor, be nice to him, that kind of stuff. That's protecting. You've had those big old linemen by him like, whoa, what do you want? No, you get out of here. You don't touch the man. You leave him alone, that kind of stuff. That's what you got to do to protect. And when he takes those shots, it makes you want to do that even more. Like, you just don't hit Trevor ever, on the field, off the field, anywhere. And not that he could take it. He's not made out of glass. But that's the job when you have that kind of QB, at least in my opinion. All right, I got to go, but I got to tell you some things. I interviewed Ken Shamrock earlier this week, the UFC legend and the horse's mouth. Let me tell you something. Got a great event October 27th at UNF Arena, bare knuckle fighting. If you're into the fight game, bare knuckle event. It's Valor BK, and they're going to put on a great show. So make sure you check that out. Just Google Valor BK, and you'll take you right to the website. That was absolutely phenomenal. I tell you, to talk to that guy. Fighters, listen, man, they're a beautiful breed. They're just a different breed. They've got a different wire. You know, they're just born to fight, born to kick ass, and born to take a shot, just born to do it. But I really enjoyed talking to him because he's a human being, just like, and that's what he says. Like, man, I'm just a human being. I've just been in the combat world for my entire life. That no question about it. All right, next Thursday at the Ritz in Jax Beach, we got another Meet 55 event, getting ready for Thursday night football. It's the best burger you'll ever have. Just come on out, have a burger. It's cheap, it's great. You're gonna love it. Tastes phenomenal, and we'll do that at the Ritz next Friday night. The Dad Bods, here we go. Yeah, baby, at Whiskey Jack's next Friday night, next Saturday. I keep saying Friday, darn it. Next Saturday night, the 21st, right? The 21st. Next Saturday night at Whiskey Jack's in Atlantic Beach. Want to thank Team Tommy Mac again. The new one, Graffiti Burger Bar right there in Jack's Beach. New ownership. You're going to love it. Hey, the bail bonds, Chris Lucero's bail bonds. If you get thrown in the clink, he gets you out in a blink. 904-822-2245. Put the number in your phone just in case you need it. Azar Sausage, of course, the best sausage you'll ever have. Get it at Winn-Dixie and other local grocers. I eat it all the time. It's phenomenal. Of course, you got the Truck Accident Law Firm. All they do is truck crash law, man. All they do is truck crashes. Over $1 billion recovered for the clients. You're not going to see some fancy commercial, all these lights and all this stuff, but they get the job done. TruckCrashLaw.com. The Carpet Man, LVP. More than LVP. You got all types of flooring, whether you talk carpet, hardwood, travertine, tile, whatever you call that stuff, tile, whatever the case may be. They have it highest quality at the lowest prices. Of course, my man J-Dog and J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Go to see them, JDogJunkRemoval.com. Nothing too big, nothing too small. They take care of it all just for you. And guess what? Any storms coming through, they'll help you with cleanup too. They are veteran-owned and operated. I'm very honored to have them. I'm honored to have everybody on my show. Team Tommy Mac continues to grow, and I thank you for all the support. So until next time, y'all be safe, stay cool, and be cool, and stay safe. And we'll see you right here on Catch It Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.